Critical tasks are those we undertake where, if a failure were to occur, the outcome or severity could easily result in a significant injury or loss. When carrying out these critical tasks, it's essential we identify, manage and control all hazards and risks and focus on error traps and the error prevention tools to further mitigate risks. This enables tasks to be completed in a well-planned, safe and productive manner. Your supervisor will identify the activity as a critical task during the preparation and planning phase for the work. This is part of a mandatory process which must be followed, irrespective of the critical tasks to be undertaken. It's important you understand the process and your role within it, and this module is part of the Doosan Babcock Critical Task Training for Rider-Operated Mobile Work Equipment. It will help reaffirm your personal awareness, accountability and ownership for these activities. Please take time to watch, listen and understand this module. It's important and it will be assessed. Using rider-operated mobile work equipment is considered to be a critical task activity when utilising mobile elevated work platforms, forklift trucks with a lifting attachment, when reversing with a bulky load, when loading, unloading or travelling with an abnormal or unstable load which could potentially have an unknown or shifting centre of gravity. Prior to any work involving the use of rider-operated mobile work equipment, a Take 5 must take place and the driver must sign the Take 5 form to indicate that he or she has read, understood and agreed with the contents. The Take 5 covers, as a minimum, a description of the activity and confirmation that the appropriate permit and risk assessment has been carried out. Further information if the activity involves the use of a forklift. Further information if the activity involves the use of a mobile elevated working platform. A pre-use checklist for the use of rider-operated mobile equipment. Details of any change. A team acknowledgement. If the answer to any of the questions is no, then you must seek input from a competent and responsible person. Once the work party complete the Take 5, the supervisor should review and sign it off during active monitoring. The above procedure must be followed under all circumstances. It's there for a reason. It will reduce the risk of incident, injury or error. It will ensure the critical task is planned, set up and executed safely and correctly. It will ensure you remain in control throughout the task and that you're aware of and recognise change. It will make you personally responsible and accountable for the safe execution of the task and make you intolerant to any deviation. Let's look at an example. Mobile lifting devices are widely used during a motor race meeting. In the lead up to the event, there's the arrival of the teams and their entourage of vehicles, equipment, technicians, cars and corporate hospitality, plus all the support providers and sponsors. Mobile lifting equipment and forklift operations are everywhere. It's imperative that the organisers have a set of clear standards and expectations for the operation of rider-operated mobile equipment. It's important all users are aware of the hazards and potential error traps and understand how to use error prevention tools so that rider-operated mobile work equipment is used correctly and safely. But it's not just before and after the race that rider-operated mobile work equipment is used. There's heavy rain and a car has aquaplaned and gone off the circuit. Yellow flags are waving as the drivers continue to navigate around the track behind the safety car. The risk assessment of the track before the race was thorough, but the unexpected has happened and things have changed. However, the marshals have identified potential error traps in their pre-race discussions, their version of a Take 5. They have considered severe weather conditions, an accident or incident at that location, the requirement for rider-operated mobile work equipment, and the competitors circulating behind the safety car. They've also discussed the error prevention tools which will be used in the event of an incident, and these have all contributed to the successful removal of the car from the danger zone. Good leadership, training, meticulous planning and preparation, effective briefings and good communication have all played their part. Now let's look at an example from the workplace. While restacking a number of pallets within a laydown area, a Doosan Babcock forklift truck driver was approached by the client and asked to move a redundant tank. The tank had been placed on a pallet and was blocking the entrance to the adjacent storage building, which prevented a goods lorry from making a delivery. The forklift truck driver was competent and experienced, had undergone requisite medicals, had a valid operator's license, and had operated various types of forklift truck on the site for the last 18 months. He never failed to carry out pre-use checks on his vehicle, abided by site rules, was aware of the content of the risk assessment for the use of this vehicle and other vehicles he would operate on a daily basis, and he always wore his seatbelt. However, having first refused the client insisted that it was a simple task and it could be completed in less than a minute. The driver did not feel he could refuse the request a second time, and on completion of his task, started to move the pallet and tank which blocked the entrance to the warehouse. He was not aware that the redundant tank was half filled with liquid. After picking up the pallet with the forks and raising the load, his forward visibility was obscured. He decided to reverse with the raised load so as to give him clearer visibility. During the reversing manoeuvre, he started turning. At this point, the liquid in the tank moved and the centre of gravity of the load shifted, resulting in both the load and forklift truck becoming unstable. Feeling this movement, the driver's reaction was to stop the vehicle. The sudden braking caused further movement of the load, and subsequently, the forklift truck overturned. So what went wrong? And where were Doosan Babcock's standards and expectations for the use of rider-operated mobile work equipment not met? The driver was competent and experienced and had also undertaken the critical task standards and expectations awareness training for the use of rider-operated mobile work equipment. Unfortunately, as this was an unplanned task, the risk assessment process was not applied. Had the proper planning and preparation taken place, the assessment of the load in terms of weight, size, centre of gravity, and route of travel would have deemed it as a critical task. This would have allowed not only supervisor involvement, but also the use of the critical task Take 5, which asks key questions of the operator prior to commencing work. The operator should have been more assertive with the client, explaining that he was not allowed to carry out any task, however simple, for which he had not received instructions from his supervisor. A polite second refusal would have helped prevent the incident. And finally, remember that a Take 5 can be called to reassess the risk at any time during the task. If other hazards are identified, stop the job and reassess. If things change, stop the job and reassess. If you're unsure, stop the job and reassess. Thanks for watching.